I took up a job with a Bitcoin mining company. From my first salary, I put $5,000 into crypto. And in that mining company, all these big mining companies that you hear of more or less have been sold by me. Phoenix Group was a key client at that time. And during one of those conversations, the guy said, okay, what do you do? And I told him about investing. He gave me a $10 million the next day. At the peak, it was around $500 million. A good exit, $130 million. Finally, 2 years later, he said, okay, time to test is finished. Let's do another real fund. And that's where he gave me $100 million. We deployed $80 million. Had a good 6x on the fund. It was known as Cypher Capital. Cypher Capital was the biggest fund in the region.
Welcome back, everybody, to the It Over podcast powered by Coin Edition. We're back with yet another exciting session for you. And of course, this is all being done by the team at Unchained Summit. But for now, I'm here to introduce our very special guest, the CEO and partner at Cypher Capital, Vineet Budki. Thank you very much for coming into the show. Did I say that right? Budki?
That was right, Vineet Budki.
Budki.
Great to be here, sir.
Amazing. I know that you're busy, chopping up interviews, handling a lot of different things. So we truly appreciate the time that you've come here to spend with us at the It Over podcast. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am very good. How are you doing? What's new personally, professionally? What's happening in your life?
Oh, last year has been crazy, running around, traveling 150 room nights in a year.
Wow.
It's been all around. In fact, I've been in the crypto space for 4 or 5 years, and I always sort of pre-plan a year ahead. So last year, I was pretty sure that we are going into the crypto winter this year. So it was all about raising money, and luckily we crossed the first close and life's comfortable. Now it's more relaxed, but last year was running around, having fun, enjoying the industry as well. And just enjoying life, as you say.
A lot of people don't know what's your wife and your family's take on you traveling, all the time.
Other than them writing me off, they are okay as long as I take them along a few times. So they do come along. It was very hectic. I always have had these 150 nights, but again, when you are trying to build up a generational company, generational wealth, work happens at that level. But again, they have to be understanding. They have to have fun along.
I mean, mashallah, for someone who does a lot of traveling, you're in good shape. You look good.
The wife is not giving me enough food. It's been a bear market.
Well, listen, let's transition this into more of a professional talk. You've honestly, and I know I said that a couple of times with our previous guests, but you've been in this space for a while. You've been in different kind of positions, in different situations. Can I say that you've done it all, or you feel like you still haven't?
We haven't even started as an industry, man.
Okay.
I think it's too early when we look at numbers. And of course, something to correct you over there. Everyone says I've been here for 10, 20 years. I haven't been. I think my first trade went in on August 2020. People know about the story that I put $5,000, which was 100 in 2 months. And randomly...
That was just like...
In 2 months. Yeah, 4 years back.
Oh, okay.
So I put $5,000, was 100 in 2 months, was randomly sitting with someone. That gentleman gave me $10 million. That fund did really well. It was known as Phoenix VC, that gentleman. Again,
intentionally you've put it in, or just stumbled across?
So I had been doing startups for a long time, and my last startup completely collapsed. COVID came, it was a travel startup. I had to fire 70 people. We had $500,000 revenue, all went up in air, nothing else to do, took up a job. I took up a job with a Bitcoin mining company. From my first salary, I put $5,000 into crypto. And in that mining company, all these big mining companies that you hear of more or less have been sold by me. Phoenix Group was a key client at that time. And during one of those conversations, the guy said, okay, what do you do? And I told him about investing. He gave me a $10 million the next day. At the peak, it was around $500 million. A good exit, $130 million. Finally, 2 years later, he said, okay, time to test is finished. Let's do another real fund. And that's where he gave me $100 million. We deployed $80 million. Had a good 6x on the fund. It was known as Cypher Capital. Cypher Capital was the biggest fund in the region. I hear a lot of people saying they have the biggest fund. We invested 130 plus investments. That's how we are the biggest, not just by name. So was fun ride as well. And then, but 1.5 years back was in Saudi. I figured out that this small crypto bro funds is not the way to go. This industry is going to evolve someday. And when this industry evolves, you would really need capitals. Because understand, Uber to become what it is doesn't need only $5 million. It needs hundreds of millions of dollars. It goes in consumer. Because Uber is not an app. Uber is consumer acquisition. Uber is changing your mindset. In crypto, we don't have those mega funds yet. And I think as we evolve, as this 500 million wallets end up becoming $2-3 billion, you would need big funds to support this ecosystem. And that's where we said, let's build up a regulated fund, because the other ones were family office funds, same guy giving me the money. And that's how the game started. We started going and meeting a lot of people who didn't understand crypto. Imagine our pitch was interesting. We were like, we understand this industry well, and we'll give you that amazing returns, but the next year the industry is going to crash.
Right.
So you're telling someone to put money in you, as well as saying it's going to go down. So yeah, that's how it came. And luckily we closed our first close, and things have been good. We did a few investments, looking at some more. We just because I've always been saying that this year is going to be the bad year. And I always invest in a bear market. I don't invest when something's at $5 billion. Invest when it is at 100. So ideal time to be in, and the best market in the industry to be.
Okay, amazing. So I would say that you've just stumbled across this industry. It wasn't intentional that you wanted to be a part of the Web3 of the crypto space. You just found the right opportunity. It was the right time. Boom, you've entered that. I call it a legendary trade, if you will. And from there, it's been upwards.
See, entry was definitely lucky, and I define luck in a different format. I define luck as probability. You try 100 times, fail 99 times, and one time something goes right, and that is considered as luck. So yes, I was lucky to know it. I also knew about it in 2017 when someone had told me about Bitcoin, but I didn't go deeply into it. I met a lot of founders in Singapore. I didn't bother, but this time definitely it was me randomly putting $5,000 in. And I think after you get your entry window or opportunity, it's how you build on it. A lot of us got these opportunities, but how many of us ended up going to 4 events every month and meeting thousands of founders across places, building relationships with different venture capital funds? So yes, the opportunity came, and I'm thankful for that. And we built up on that. We built 2 brands on it, and continuing. When everyone's leaving, I'm clearly saying we are in here for the long haul.
Amazing. Now, obviously, when you were running the family office and now running Sigma Capital with a fund of over $100 million, you've led a lot of investments in the Web3 space. How would you compare today's investment to the investment framework in the early 2000s, for example, or when you guys first started investment in startups?
See, we started investing. The fund actually got in, as I said, I did my first investment in August 2020. That is 4 or 5 years back. I think the wild west has become easier. If you look across this space, 2017 was the ICO boom. You are going to plant a tree in Africa. Come on, let's go and raise money for that. There's no logic to it. You had multiple ICOs. Then 2020, the last cycle was more about finding use cases. You had RWA, which told lending, borrowing can be done over there. You had a lot of games that came up and explained that in-game play can happen. So you found use cases. And today, I think the future will be about adoption. How do you get more users on board? I think stable coins have been great with that. How has it become different is, in the last cycle, whatever we put money on was a 300x. Mm-hmm. Pools was a 300x, Paid Network was a 300x, Star Atlas was a 600x, Casper was a 1000x. Magic all around making money. I think this cycle has been more calculated, more structured, though we also got those multiples in Peak Network. Peak was a 70x, but it was because the altcoin cycle wasn't as effective as the last one, how do you find the right bets?
True.
We did a major investment into Solana, an OTC deal across multiple, even the $30 OTC deal from the foundation or the FTX liquidation. So it was all about finding value and investing in them. You wouldn't get 100x, but a SUI giving you a 20x and a whole fund is good enough, right? And a Solana going from 30 to 200 is great as well. So cycle was inherently different, and the next one is going to be much more different. And that's where
different good or different bad?
It's evolving. See, understand one thing. Earlier it was unstructured, any kid going and launching anything. Now it will in the next 10-15 years replicate a stock market where nobody can just go and randomly launch a coin, because that was how stock markets, like in India's case, in 1980s, you could launch any stock market, manipulate it up. That's how stock markets have been in the last 4 years. But it will become better. It will become regulated. More people will come up. It will be better because more adoption will come. It will be not better because we'll not have 100x's anymore. But we'll have good enough to give great returns back to investors.
What are the things, as one of the founding members of Sigma Capital, what are the things that you look for when investing in a project? Three. Let's narrow the things down to three elements that you look for when investing in a Web3 startup.
I think the most critical thing that I look at before investing in a Web3 startup is the founders. Do the founders have the capability and capacity to build something big? Again, today morning I was on call with one of the projects that we are having a chat with, Canton Network. The founders have been building this for 10 years. I think the backers have been amazing. So, when you talk to these founders who really know what they've done, maybe they have 5 years or 10 years or 20 years of experience, and they see how they will build the vision up, it becomes interesting. So for me, the first is founder, capability and capacity. Capability means, have they done this in the past and can they build it up? If someone wants to build a rocket and has not even driven a cycle, he's not going to build a rocket. So that is the capability. And the capacity part. Capacity means, just like me, do they have the ability to leave their house for 150 days on a flight and build a great company?
Okay.
So this is the first thing that I look at. The second thing is, what is the vision? What are they trying to build? Is there really a company that they are trying to build, or it is just randomly catching up on the hype? And third, because I'm a very specific token investor, I look at the token use case. See, in most of the tokens, there is, understand the difference between equity and token. Equity is future ownership of revenue. That means Binance does $100 million revenue, it goes to CZ as the equity owner. But the core underlying activity of Binance is to trade tokens, BTC, and the trading fee goes out in BNB token. So BNB token is not revenue driver, is a process driver. The process runs on it. Today, Binance does $1 billion of revenue, BNB is expensive. Tomorrow it does 10 billion, it will be more expensive. This is the easiest way to explain BNB coin. So point is there a process that is being controlled by this? Like in WorldCoin, the identity taking and identity connecting is driven on the WorldCoin coin. So I look at these three things: founders, what they are trying to build, and whether the token has a use case. Sometimes we look at runway, which means how much funds have they raised and what is their revenue model. But that is the fourth one. Because
you did highlight it in, I believe, one of your posts on LinkedIn about investing in people you trust, when things go wrong. How do you assess, founder investment alignment before writing a check to these people?
See, again, you have to meet founders 2-3 times. You have to understand what they do. I'll give you an example. You meet a guy who Zuckerberg had hired to head technology for him. He was building up the Libra project, comes out and builds a Mistral Lab. So now, in this case, this guy has an excellent track record of being part of great projects, has technology, that is the Libra technology, and is building up a company with a great team, and has $300 million. He was raising $300 million, $450 was committed. Now, when you look at these three things, you understand that the founder is here for the long run. This is basically the Mistral Labs team, which is Sui token. So once you meet 3-4 times, you understand what their focus is, what their commitment. Are they here for a quick grab and run, or are they here to build up a company? And these founders have a different charisma around them. They're not just random kids.
Because when I was coming into the studio today, I had a chat with a friend of mine who works at a company without putting any names out there that does something really new. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's Web4, right? This new fully decentralized technology, because they believe that Web3 still has some sort of an affiliation with the centralized world that we live in today. And I told him that I'm going to be, interviewing the CEO of Sigma Capital, and he was like, "Could you please ask him what would it take for us to have a conversation with him, and how can we be considered for a potential investment opportunity?"
See, when it comes to building up a company, let's go back to the Web2 age. How do companies get funded? You have an idea, great. You go and raise money from your mommy, daddy. They're the 3 Fs: friends, fools, and family. You build up something. you have a MVP out there, and then you raise money from angel investors, and then you go to a serious VC. If you don't want to go through that process, you run up in an accelerator. At least form an idea around it. And then the VCs come in with their big checks, 1 to 3 million, 5 million, whatever amount. So for us, we are on that stage where 80% of our investments are a bit later stage, where something has come up where I can see something.
Right.
Rather than see, one of the things which I have done as a mistake, I was a founder before this, sending random mails on LinkedIn. Normally people don't put $2-3 million on. If you cannot even get a proper connect through someone, if you don't trust, a lot of times I see these people, because I think you mentioned that, but people say that I'm doing a job in XYZ company and I'm trying to build this idea. So when you fund me, I'll go and do the job. My funding is not for scaling up the company. My funding is to give your salary in the new company. You yourself don't trust it enough to leave that company.
Right.
I've done 3 startups before that. I have left my job and done those startups. Those startups have succeeded and failed. But I have been 24/7 and the whole team has been 24/7 in there. When I left my last fund, I left the fund and started this fund without any guarantees of salary, without any guarantees of anything. And today, luckily, we have raised, But what I'm saying is,
it doesn't always work with everybody, yeah.
Yeah,
but with the right study, with the right plan, things could go off.
And you have to go out on the ground and try.
Yeah. Because like you've just said, I mean, if I want to put in $2-3 million in a founder or in a company, if you're not dedicated, why would I be dedicated to allocate this money over to you?
And sometimes what I see, and this is I have also learned, I was a founder for 15 years. You cannot convince your mommy to give you $100,000 or $10,000. You cannot convince your co-founder to leave his job to come and join you full time. You cannot get your friend to invest $30,000 and you want a VC to invest $5 million. So there was this great article I had read. If a guy comes to you and says, give me $10 million to mine gold from moon, will you give it? Answer is, of course, no. But when Elon Musk comes and asks you for that 10 million, you will give him, because first, he has credibility. He has sent rockets to the moon and he has built his companies in the past. So in this case, some random stranger comes up to me, sometimes at events, sometimes on LinkedIn. It's hard for us to invest, because for me, I don't know any background. You couldn't even, out of your 10,000 connections of LinkedIn, you couldn't even get one person who knows me to give an introduction. How do you expect me to invest?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same situation when people apply for just normal jobs and every single job requires an experience. And all these new graduates, they go like, how can I get an experience when every single job is asking for an experience? But I guess this is where internships come into place.
And sometimes what you can also do in such a case is, see, okay, you have a great idea, you are early stage, you have to build up a track record. This is something that I have seen, this is personal experience. If I go to you and ask you for money, we also fundraised for our fund. Nobody gives you money right that. Sometimes they sit with you for 6 months and understand what you're doing. Are you focused enough? When we started saying a year back that this year the cycle is going to turn and BTC is going to crash, people said you have no clue about the market. Today the same guys come to us and say, you guys clearly told it a year back that the markets are going to be down. So at least they understand our credibility that we're not kids. Today they have seen us doing our investments and maybe they will put a check. Maybe they will put a check in the next fund. It doesn't matter. But point is, building up a relationship and not meeting someone just for a transaction, building a real relationship.
Yeah. And it's sustainability at the end of the day. I'm sure you're doing this for the long run, not to hit and run. You know what I mean? So building sustainability, being that reputation is very important. You've been in Dubai, you said, for 21 years now?
21, 2002.
Okay. So you've been
23.
here. You've been here for a while, obviously traveling all the time. Just before we started the podcast, we were talking about how, India is an incredible emerging market right now. You do a lot of stuff in India. But let's talk about the Middle East, considering that it's now being seen as a global Web3 hub, whether you agree or not. How does Cypher Capital, and I know that you guys are kind of situated over here in Dubai, how do you view the role of kind of local regulatory frameworks in actually driving innovation for such startups?
See, for me, I think I have told this on a few panels with Vara and everyone as well. I consider UAE not as a startup hub, but as a scale-up hub. There's a difference between a startup and a scale-up. Startup goes to San Francisco in a garage and builds up a company. Scale-up lands up in New York to take flanky offices and build up a company. Now, unless you don't have $2-3 million in your pocket. Unfortunately, you cannot come to Dubai and build up a company. So, but this is the most ideal place to scale up because it is well connected with everywhere. It has the access to resources, be it Egypt, where the developers are there, be it India, Pakistan, where the developers are there, be it the markets of Africa. So Dubai is that place which is connected to everything in the world. So I would say, is it a hub? It is an amazing hub. I learned I built all my crypto reputation here. When in COVID, everyone was staying at home and not meeting anyone, I ended up meeting 1,000 people, out of which some are big guys in crypto right now. So yes, Dubai is definitely the place to be, but it is for a later stage and not an early stage. You don't have even a team and you don't have even $500,000. Please understand, it's not fair to be here. Probably get either an accelerator capital or something and then set up in one of the good jurisdictions, which can either mean ADGM, which can mean Dubai, and scale up from here.
And I think Dubai, if you look at it, for someone who's lived here for so long, Dubai is expensive for a startup.
Very expensive.
And this is, I would say, one of the things that people don't take into consideration when moving into Dubai. Of course, Dubai looks all fun and glamorous from the outside, but once you go in the whole kind of ecosystem, you go like, I can't really hire a staff on a full-time basis because they're going to ask for a minimum paycheck of 15,000 dirhams a month at least. And, imagine that's just one person. But if you go and build up, for example, let's say in an emerging market like India or like Egypt, there is an opportunity to build a bigger and a wider team for a smaller budget.
Yeah. So see, 15 is too less nowadays. We can't even stand in Dubai at that time. But but if you are a coder or something, we are talking about a 20, 30,000.
Don't depress some of the people that are watching now.
See, again, I also say that, you have to treat Dubai as a profit center and not as a cost center or as a revenue center. The difference between these three being, cost is like a design unit where you keep on putting money, no problem. Profit center is if you put 5 people over here in sales, you see to it that they make $10 million for your revenue. That is perfectly well. And this is how Dubai has always been built on. What I'm saying is, if you're going to keep your coders, a coder's job is to code, not to go in Dubai Mall and chill around, right? So why should you place him in Egypt, or should you place him in India, or should you place him in? But yes, a sales guy who's going to get you $2 million of revenue is definitely a guy you should place here. So I'm not depressing him. I'm just saying be logical, and that's what good founders know, where to place which resources and how to manage costs. You don't want to pay 30,000 into 150,000 a month into 12 months is close to 2 million dirhams just to be sitting here, excluding the visas and the rentals.
That's very true. Now, 5 years from now, what will people look back on 2025 or 2026 rather, as the moment Web3 became real? This is that kind of the pinnacle moment when Web3 became real and people are starting to take it seriously.
See, I think people will start taking Web3 seriously only when they start going for the utility. Today when I ask, I was in US in one of the conferences where there were senators and everyone, and this was February of last year, and they said, the stable coins are coming up and we are building regulations. I asked them, how many of you have actually used these stable coins to pay for a coffee, not to buy BTC? So I think when we look back 5 years later, we will have to see real use cases and real adoption that came up. Whether it was that game, Angry Birds game that built a Web3 version where millions of people came in, whether it was that stable coin which saw to it that your salaries and your expenses are done on this, whether it was Aave which went to Africa and gave people 6% or 5% interest rate in a country where the central bank does not exist, is where the whole game will change from a speculative mindset to more adoption-based mindset, where people will start understanding the true use case. And it will happen in the next 5 to 8 years.
What part of do you guys only invest in Web3, or is there any other kind of chamber that you guys?
As a fund, all my 300 investments have been in the Web3 space, specifically with the digital token component.
Okay, so this was my other question. Like, what part of the Web3 space are you guys mostly invested in?
So, when you talk about the Web3 space, for me, in a bear market sort of scenario, I would invest more on the infrastructure play. In the end, what is Ethereum? A smart contract platform. Tomorrow your insurance, identity and everything will happen on Ethereum. But my problem is Ethereum can only handle 30 transactions per second. It cannot handle Visa's transaction capacity. So then I have to invest in infrastructure, whether it is Solana, Sui, Canton, or I don't know what. We invest in that. But towards a bull market, I start investing in how will they get users on board. Users will come from lending, borrowing, which is called DeFi. people talk about perp dexes. I'm not a trader, but that has gotten a lot of people on board. Users will come from gaming. Gaming has been dead this cycle, but gaming has the capability to catch people's imagination. We had Axie Infinity, but it was not a great game. It was a token-driven play. We actually need Fortnites of the world to be built on Web3. We are talking about identity being important. Today, Sam Altman clearly knows, who's formed OpenAI, that in the world of AI, we don't know who's sitting on the next side of the screen. So, identity will become critical. Real world assets is definitely catching everyone's attention. What is USDT? It is the RWA of a US Treasury. Why can't we tokenize real estate? Again, real estate, we have crypto type companies. I don't know how valid, the validity of real estate tokenization lies with REITs, where you have a portfolio of real estate bundled together to give returns. Otherwise, you're just buying one building. And again, there is risk
A
material.
fraction of one building, the returns are close to none.
No, normally real estate in Dubai would give you a 5 to 8%. But again, a REIT becomes a much better play over here because you have a bundle of items. You have a guy who has managed real estate across places. So your risk is managed. So, real estate will become critical. They are doing, they're talking about metals, precious metals going in. They were talking about oil getting into this. So again, a lot of these things will get into real world assets. And that's what we are investing in.
I love your take earlier when we spoke about, Bitcoin predictions, right? What's your thought on the whole kind of, gold, silver, breaking high, maybe crypto, Bitcoin, taking a dip right now? Where do you see the market moving forward from here onwards?
So see,
not a financial advice, just
just on a general notes, in the last 5 years, I've been seeing these markets. When Bitcoin was at 62K, I had this bet in Dubai that is going to 25, and I've been posting this also. I don't post and delete, I keep it there. That it was going to 16K. At 18K, we said it's going to 150, 200K. Again, it didn't go to 150, 200, but at least it went to 126, which is a 15% drop. But, there was this interview I did on 10th October where I said it's a 70% correction. I think that's happening. We have seen the structural damage that happened on 10th October. 10th October was exactly, if you compare it with the last cycle, the Terra Luna collapse, the structural collapse is exactly what happened. The stablecoin issue that happened over there. But then the systemic issues have not come in yet. Systemic issues means last time we had Three Arrows Capital, we had Celsius, and we had FTX. Basically, the internal companies collapsing. Now, they said during 1010, one of the market makers collapsed. Again, no one can prove it. Recently, they said last week when the collapse happened, there was a $700 million liquidation on ETH long. So I am waiting for those ones to come, which will come by the end of the quarter or so. And that is where I see the market heading. And in all of these problems, please understand, we have not seen the global macro collapse. Global stock markets are nearly at an all-time high. They cannot go all the way up to 10 trillion automatically.
Right.
They will retrace someday. And their retracement is not as crazy as Bitcoin. It's a 20% retracement. They will take these assets along with them. So I think that is where we have to keep an eye on where the bottom is and go all in.
Yeah, sure. At Sigma Capital, do you personally look at future trends and bet on it from now? Are you more of a conservative investor yourself? Because based on what you've been saying, you are more of a conservative investor-ish, if you will. But do you look at future trends? I've just told you, one of my friends was talking about this Web4. Obviously, AI is a big topic. RWA is another huge topic right now in the space. Are you more adventurous in that sense?
See, normally what happens is, this is across a lot of key players who do that. They normally count out the key, segments that are there. Gaming, RWA, and they say, suppose there are 10 segments, identity. Right. And you pick 4 and invest in those ones. You cannot do 10 out of 10, then you need to have a $10 billion fund.
Of course.
So yes, we do those bets. We look at how this will change. Can you accurately pinpoint which segment will become big? No. So that is where, the risk parameter comes up. Suppose there are 10 segments, identity, RWA, DeFi, gaming stuff. Out of 10, you invested in 5 and 3 of those segments hit. Then your fund has returned. Out of 5, none of them hit and the other 5 hit. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. So point is, yes, we do those looking ahead bets. I always invest for the future. When you say conservative, I'm not conservative. I'm not foolish as well. When everyone's running away and the valuations are deflated is the time to invest. When Bitcoin, if it goes to 50K, it will not lose its utility. I'll be the most, aggressive investor. But when the same thing goes and trades at $20 billion valuation, I am not the one who invests. I don't want to be someone's exit liquidity. So yes, we look at those ones, we bet on those, and it's been good so far.
I was just talking earlier about Unchained Summit coming back to Dubai May 1st and May 2nd. You're someone that attends a lot of these events. Like you've just said, you go out there, you make yourself available, you connect with the people. Network is extremely important. And this day and age, connecting with the right people, you never know when that person might change your life as an investor, as a developer. You just never know. What do you look for personally in an event, or what do you feel like is missing in events that are out there, especially in the UAE, since we are over here right now, that you would want to actually see more of?
So, when I go to an event, what is my KPI of it being a good event? I met 5 good people. Unfortunately, you meet 100 people who just do blah, blah, and you meet 5 real people. That's how the events go, I have put qualities of events over here. There are some events where you sit with people and have great conversations with them, like a CFC St. Moritz. There are events where you get alpha. When you go to Eat Denver or some of these events, you can actually get investments that you can invest in. One is where you just go to show your face. When you go to Consensus nowadays, it's just showing face because unfortunately there are not deals there. But you go to Davos to show face. People know that you have money to come here.
Yeah.
And the fourth one is where you go to do parties, nothing to do. But so for me, the value add is when I end up meeting 4 or 5 good people over there. Please understand, when people say, I don't want to name any events, but there are events which get 30,000 people to the event. I'm not sure why I am going to that train station. There are 30,000 people who I don't recognize. Please understand, if you are doing 2 to 3 events in a day and meeting 5 people in a month, you are doing 2 to 3 events and 5 people. That means 15 good people over 12 months is 200 people whole of crypto.
That's true. In Dubai.
Globally as well. You meet a Yatsu, you meet a Sebastian, you meet a Pascal Gautier, you meet a Sandeep. Already a lot of people.
Yeah. I agree. I've been in the crypto events industry since COVID. Actually, that was my, I would say, professional entry into the space, because I started just investing in crypto like everybody else, started trading here and there. And then, I started attending all of these kind of networking events. And at the beginning, I was extremely aggressive. I was like every event, I can't miss it, meeting people left, right, and center. And, at an early stage, it's absolutely fine. And you have to filter out those people and filter out those events and go like, okay, you know what? I know if I go to these events, they hand select their guests. These are the people that I can take. And the value doesn't have to be financial value. It could be as simple as like a piece of information that could really get you kind of thinking, this is interesting. You know what? I'm going to take it into consideration. So we're going to go through one last segment, right? This is our famous fireside kind of chat questions, if you will. Just a one-word answer, fun stuff to take the seriousness out of the room, right? One word to describe the crypto market in 2026.
Early.
One thing traditional finance still does better than crypto.
Capital.
Okay. Why would you say that?
Baba, the people in crypto have no money. Please understand. There are people. So I met billionaires. I met a billionaire who's worth $8 billion. You go to a fund and they are giving $1 million. There are $50 or $100 million in these family offices.
Agree.
We are such a drop. The TradFi capital is huge.
Yeah, there's literally people that you can name in one hand who are like billionaires in the space and are willing to give out money to invest in like.
Someone sent me a message the other day that he wanted to put in $100-something million in strategy. This is the type of capital that these guys have. And this is the capital that we need to bridge into the ecosystem. Saudi, when you go to Saudi, Sarnabel puts $30-50 million into companies and funds. Here we are asking for $500,000 and $1 million checks. So they seriously have capital and we need to tap in there.
Speaking of that, sorry to kind of spin off, do you believe in full decentralization in this space, or do you feel like there still needs to be like some sort of synergy between the traditional kind of banking into the...
I think it will be a mix. They cannot kill each other. They have to run in parallel. Nothing can go all along. So
I agree.
See, it is not about being decentralized. It is just that, complete control cannot be in a certain person's time. So I think it will be a mix of both. These bankers, unfortunately, are not going to go anywhere. They helped me raise my capital also. So let's all be together and build up a great
Let's
world
live
tomorrow.
in a happy world. One crypto narrative that won't survive in the next 5 years.
Won't or would?
Won't survive.
Meme coins.
Okay. Well, others might agree or disagree.
Yeah, meme coins are wolf of Wall Street penny stocks. How big will they become? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe in the next bull market. Yeah, they always show up in bull markets.
Start and end of the cycle. Start to inspire you to join crypto. They say this guy put $1 and is a millionaire, and end to take out the liquidity.
What's one sentence that instantly makes you switch off during a pitch? You're the right person to ask this question.
This opportunity that will make you a millionaire. Bro, make yourself a millionaire, then make me a millionaire. No, I'm not joking. I get this. This is the opportunity that.
But haven't they done their research? Like, you're already doing well in life. You don't need to be a millionaire.
Trust me, they send us messages like this. On LinkedIn we get messages. This is that $1 trillion project. And I recently had someone on LinkedIn who told me, what is your mandate? I told him the mandate. And then he goes on and says, this is what you should do and this will make you a millionaire. I'm like, bro, relax.
Exactly. Yes. You know, I'm someone that truly believes, like, I don't like to tell people what are my qualities. I like to show them my qualities. So it's the same thing with any project that you put out there. Instead of doing that, just talk about as someone that understands the space, talk about the qualities and the value and, you know, what difference are you bringing into the space?
Interestingly, this is something that I have also learned in the last 1 year. See, because this time was the first fund that we were raising, because earlier it was the same guy giving money. Now imagine I'm going to a billionaire asking for a $5-10 million. I can't look at him and I cannot say, I'll make you rich. He's already rich. That's why I'm standing
I'm going to make you a trillionaire.
Yeah. So what I say is, see, this is a great segment to be it, and I can be your gateway to this segment. Trust us, or if you don't, because they don't understand digital assets, stay with us for some time and see how we work. See, that's what we can say. And this is what these founders should say. We are trying to build a great company. It will build wealth, but learn a bit more about us rather than now I'll make you rich.
Yeah, I don't like that attitude either. Yeah. I agree. If venture capital didn't exist, what alternate career path do you think you would have chased?
I would have
another travel agency.
Maybe I could have done that. I was a cabin crew with Emirates. So
no way.
2003 when I came, I was a cabin crew with Emirates. I did a lot of startups.
You have the height for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I have the height. It's a fun job to be in. Imagine staying in a building full of 90% women, traveling every 2 days to a country. It's a fun job. Okay. I loved it. So cabin crew maybe.
Amazing. But it's interesting, right? Cabin crew travel agency kind of makes sense. But then transitioning into Bitcoin mining and now running, Sigma Capital is insane.
So it was basically, I studied at one of the top engineering colleges, ended up becoming a cabin crew. Went to do my MBA at Cornell and top Ivy League school. Ended up doing startups after that. So my first tech startup was basically selling e-commerce in India. Then my second was not a travel agency, but a tech travel agency, online travel agency. So I used to sell tours and activities to all the big OTAs, Clear Trip and Make My Trip. We had offices across China, Singapore, and this. So we were selling online. So there was a tech part to it. And I learned my tech at Rocket Internet. So it is an evolution to technology and having fun now.
So when I said that you've done it all, in life you have, maybe not in crypto, but in life you have truly done it pretty much all. One metric the market overreacts to?
Price. And something to add, it's a one word. Price always does not reflect value. Be a value hunter, not a price hunter.
One assumption about Bitcoin most people get wrong.
They don't understand the use case. Assumption, like they don't understand it's a store of value. They think some random 21.
As an investor, do you really need to?
Yeah, it's like gold. People have see. Biggest question that I get is what is the utility of Bitcoin or what is the underlying value? People don't understand this also. So I have to.
What is the utility of gold?
I'll explain. Yes, that's where I explain. I tell them that when you buy gold or buy a house in Dubai or buy what you call Picasso's painting, commonality is that they store value. Anything that stores value is known as an asset. An asset is not formed on rarity. It's formed on perception. Your mom told you to buy gold and your dad told you to buy a house. Similarly, Bitcoin is forming that perception. And its utility is like gold, store of value. The second utility is highly bankable. In Dubai, if you don't have a job and $1 million house, no bank will give you loan. In $1 million Bitcoin, you can get a loan in 5 minutes on Aave. And third is portability. In old generations, two kings fighting, the losing king would take his gold and run away. This was the utility of gold, portability. Today in Gaza and Ukraine, people cannot run away with their gold or dollars. They remember their 12 phrases in mind. So these are and people don't understand the most misunderstood thing is, what does it hold? What is its value?
Okay. And lastly, in one sentence, the future of crypto is?
Massive.
Absolutely massive. All right. Well, Vineet Budki, CEO and partner at Sigma Capital, thank you very much for your time again, for coming over to the Hash It Over podcast powered by Coin Edition. If people want to get in touch with you, Sigma Capital, what's the method?
Vineet at sigmavc.com. I'm available on LinkedIn as well. I think I'm very approachable. Everyone knows me.
You are. I mean, I've looked you up, and I have to say your social presence appealed to me because you're very honest. You don't go with this whole AI polished version of your bio and resume. No, you're like, this is what I believe in. This is what you should be doing, and this is how I built my my legacy, if you will.
It's a crude way of doing it. I think that's how I am. It's about, I don't need to please no one anymore. Wifey says dress up, be like nice. I'm like, why do I need to please anyone? See, point is, be direct. People might not like you initially, but when they understand that there's no bad motive, they become friends for life. So it's all about being real.
Absolutely. All right, Vineet, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you
at
the Unchained Summit.